There is one battle every person fights every single day. It is not against the world, not against circumstances, not even against other people. It is the battle within the mind. Negative thoughts are like weeds in a garden. They grow quickly, silently, and if left unchecked, they choke the life out of everything good inside you. But here is the truth. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You can stop negative thinking, not just manage it, not just suppress it, but transform it into fuel for strength, clarity, and peace. This audiobook is your guide. A quick fix, yes, but not a shallow one. A fix that works because it is rooted in awareness, action, and consistent practice. Let us begin this journey together, one chapter at a time. Every change begins with awareness. Before you can rise above negative thoughts, you must first recognize them for what they truly are. Most people don't realize how quietly and invisibly these thoughts creep into the mind. They are not loud or obvious. They don't always shout insults or scream failure. Often they whisper. They slip in quietly as doubts, as worries, as quiet murmurs that sound so much like truth. You barely notice they are there. And this is why so many people lose the battle before it even begins. They do not recognize that they are fighting an enemy that disguises itself as reality. Think about the last time you felt discouraged. Maybe you told yourself, "I'll never be able to do this," or "No one really cares about me," or "I'm just not good enough." Did you stop in that moment and challenge the thought? Or did you accept it simply because it came from inside your own mind? Most of us accept it. We believe the voice inside our head because it feels familiar. It feels convincing, and it often echoes the fears we've carried for years. But believing it does not make it true. Negative thoughts are not facts. They are habits of the mind. They are old stories that you've heard so often. They feel natural. They are the shadows of past experiences, fears, and insecurities that pretend to be reality. Imagine a child afraid of the dark. In the night, the coat hanging in the corner looks like a monster. The shadow on the wall looks like a threat. But the moment the light is switched on, everything changes. The fear disappears. The monster was never real. The shadow had no power. The only difference was awareness, the ability to see clearly. Your negative thoughts are like those shadows. They look real, they feel heavy, and they convince you that danger is near. But the moment you shine the light of awareness on them, you realize they are just illusions. They only have power when you treat them as truth. The first fix, then, is simple: notice them. Recognize when your mind is telling you something that is not fact, but fear. One of the most powerful exercises you can practice is observation. Imagine that your thoughts are not you, but clouds drifting across the sky. Some clouds are light and fluffy, while others are dark and heavy. But no matter how dark they seem, you are not the cloud. You are the sky itself. The sky does not disappear when the clouds appear. It is steady, vast, and untouched. In the same way, you remain steady beneath every passing thought. Try it right now. Bring to mind a recent negative thought. Hold it in your awareness, as if you are looking at an object in your hands. Say to yourself, "This is just a thought. It is not who I am. It is not the truth." Then ask, where did this come from? Is it a fact or is it a fear? The moment you ask this, you step back, you detach. And in that small act of questioning, the thought already loses its grip. Recognizing negative thoughts does not mean you will never have them again. It means they will no longer control you. Awareness is the light switch in the dark room. Awareness is the first step out of the prison. When you learn to see these thoughts for what they are, shadows, habits, illusions, you take back your power. From this point forward, every time a negative thought rises, remind yourself, "I see you. I know what you are. You are not the truth. You are not me." That recognition, though simple, is the beginning of freedom. When a negative thought strikes, the natural impulse is to react. It's like being suddenly pulled into a strong current. Before you realize it, you are being swept away. The thought might say, "You're not ready for this challenge," or "You'll embarrass yourself." And immediately your body responds. Your chest tightens, your breath shortens, your mood shifts. In that instant, the thought has already stolen your peace. But here is where transformation begins. You are not required to react immediately. You can learn the simple yet profound art of the pause. The pause is not weakness. It is strength. Think of a mountain standing firm as storms rage around it. The wind howls, the rain lashes, the snow falls. Yet the mountain does not move. It watches. It waits. It endures. You, too, can become like that mountain in the face of negative thinking. When a thought rises up to disturb you, you do not have to fight it or run from it. You simply pause, breathe, and allow it to pass through. This pause is not about suppressing or ignoring what you feel. It is about giving yourself space, a small but powerful gap between the thought and your response. In that gap, you reclaim your power. You are no longer a prisoner of automatic reaction. You are the master of trust. Imagine a moment of anger. Someone criticizes you unfairly, and your mind instantly sparks with thoughts of defense or retaliation. Normally, you might snap back with words you regret, or retreat into silence filled with bitterness. But if, in that very instant, you pause, just for a few seconds, something remarkable happens. You notice the thought rise. You feel the anger in your body. You breathe. And in that pause, you ask yourself, do I want to feed this thought? Do I want to let it control me? Or do I want to release it and choose peace? The power of the pause lies in that moment of awareness. Without the pause, you are on autopilot, driven by fear, anger, or doubt. With the pause, you are awake. You have options. You are free. Try it with a small example. Imagine you spill your coffee in the morning. Your mind may rush to negativity. Of course, this would happen to me. This day is ruined already. Without pausing, that single thought could snowball into a bad mood, lasting hours. But if you pause, if you simply notice the thought, breathe deeply, and smile at the situation, the moment loses its power. The coffee is just coffee. The day is still open to joy. The pause is not a long process. It takes seconds. In fact, the quicker the pause, the greater the strength. Count slowly to 5. Inhale, hold, exhale. Feel the air enter and leave your body. That breath is your anchor. While your mind is busy throwing negativity at you, your breath reminds you that you are safe, you are alive, and you are present. With practice, the pause becomes natural. At first, you may only remember it after the negative thought has already carried you away. That is fine. Every attempt strengthens your awareness. Over time, you begin catching the thought earlier and earlier, until one day the pause happens instantly, without effort. And here lies the deeper truth. Negative thoughts lose their grip the moment you stop reacting automatically to them. Like uninvited guests, they thrive on your attention. But when you pause, you denive on that attention. You watch them come. You watch them go. And you realize they have no real power unless you give it to them. The pause is not just a technique. It is a way of living. It is the art of refusing to be rushed by fear, anger, or worry. It is the practice of staying calm in the middle of life's storms. And every time you pause, you strengthen the most important muscle of all, the muscle of self-control. The mind is a storyteller, and every day it writes a script about who you are, what you are capable of, and where your life is headed. Sometimes that script is empowering. It tells you that you are strong, resilient, and capable of overcoming whatever challenge stands in front of you. But more often, especially when negativity has crept in, the mind writes a tragedy. It whispers that you are not enough, that you will fail, that you do not belong, that the future will only bring disappointment. These words may not appear dramatic on the surface, but they slowly shape your self-image. And because the script feels familiar, you start to believe it without question. Yet here lies the truth. You are not bound to a single narrative. Just as an author can revise and rewrite a story, you too can take control of the script inside your mind. The first step is to recognize that what you tell yourself matters more than what anyone else says. If your inner voice is constantly tearing you down, even the kindest encouragement from others will feel hollow. But if your inner voice becomes your ally, then even in the face of criticism or setback, you will stand steady. Consider this a student who believes. I am not smart enough to learn this subject, will approach every lesson with hesitation, resistance, and fear. Their belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because they lack ability, but because they have rehearsed a limiting script so many times that their actions follow it blindly. Now imagine if the student caught that script mid-sentence and rewrote it. Instead of saying, "I am not smart enough," they said, "I am learning, and with practice, I can improve." That single shift transforms the way they study, the way they face challenges, and ultimately, the results they achieve. This is not about pretending that everything is perfect. It is not about ignoring struggle or difficulty. It is about reframing the story so that it empowers you rather than paralyzes you. A negative script narrows your vision until you can see only obstacles. A rewritten script widens your perspective, reminding you that growth is always possible, that challenges are temporary, and that your current reality does not define your ultimate future. Think back to a time when you faced something you thought you could not handle. Perhaps an exam, a job interview, a difficult conversation, or even a personal loss. At first, the story in your head may have been filled with doubt. Yet somehow you moved through it. You adapted, learned, and found strength you did not know you had. That experience is living proof that the old script of "I can't" was never the truth. It was just a version of the story. To practice rewriting your inner script, start small. Catch a thought like, "I always fail at this," and add the word "yet." Suddenly it becomes, "I haven't succeeded at this yet." That single word changes the entire direction of the story. Or, when you hear yourself think, "I'm not confident," shift it into, "I am practicing confidence, and every day I get better at it." These subtle rewrites may feel simple, but they accumulate. Over time, they reshape the entire narrative of your life. It is often said that the stories we tell ourselves either chain us or free us. When you hold on to a negative script, you are chained to the past, to old mistakes and fears. But when you rewrite the script, you free yourself to imagine a new future. And the more you repeat that empowering story, the more your mind begins to believe it. And when the mind believes, the body and spirit follow. You are not the victim of the story in your head. You are the author. Each day, each moment, you are given a pen. You can let negativity write a story of defeat, or you can choose to write a story of growth, strength, and possibility. And once you choose to rewrite the script, the pages of your life begin to change with it. Gratitude is one of the most powerful antidotes to negativity. Yet it is often the most overlooked. We live in a world that constantly pulls our attention toward what we don't have, what went wrong, or what might go wrong in the future. The mind, when left unchecked, fixates on scarcity. It whispers, "You're missing something. You should have been further ahead." Others are better off than you. And soon, negativity takes root like weeds in a garden. But gratitude is the sunlight that burns those weeds away. It redirects the mind from emptiness to abundance, from despair to hope, from fear to peace. Think for a moment about the simple things you often overlook. The ability to wake up this morning, the air that fills your lungs without you ever asking for it, the water that flows at the twist of a handle. These moments seem so ordinary that we forget they are extraordinary. Millions would trade everything for what you already have. Gratitude is not about denying pain or pretending everything is perfect. It is about seeing the blessings that already surround you, even in the midst of challenges. Imagine two people facing the same struggle. One says, "Why me? Life is unfair. I never get a break." The other says, "This is hard, but I still have strength. I still have people who care about me. I still have opportunities ahead." The challenge is the same, but the experience is completely different. Gratitude transforms the weight of life into something lighter, something bearable, even something meaningful. A practical way to cultivate this power is through a daily ritual. Each morning, before you dive into the chaos of the day, pause and name 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be grand or extraordinary. Perhaps you are grateful for the roof over your head, the smile of someone you love, or the chance to learn something new today. Write them down if you can. Let your eyes see what your heart feels. By doing this consistently, you train your mind to search for the good, just as naturally as it once searched for the bad. There will be days when gratitude feels difficult. Days when everything seems to go wrong and negativity rushes in like a storm. On those days, gratitude is not about pretending the storm isn't real. It is about finding the small flame that still burns even in the darkness. Maybe it is the lesson hidden in the struggle. Maybe it is the strength you discover in yourself. Maybe it is simply the fact that you are still breathing, still here, still fighting. Gratitude is not about erasing the storm. It is about reminding yourself that you have shelter within. Science shows us what wisdom has long whispered. The brain rewires itself according to what we focus on. Focus on pain, and the pathways of pain grow stronger. Focus on gratitude, and the pathways of peace expand. Each thankfulness, each acknowledgement of good, is like laying down a stone on a new path. Step by step, that path becomes the main road your thoughts travel. Over time, negativity has less space to grow because gratitude has already claimed the territory. Think of gratitude as a shield. When criticism comes, gratitude reminds you of your worth. When fear comes, gratitude reminds you of your courage. When envy comes, gratitude reminds you of your blessings. It doesn't mean the arrows of negativity stop flying, but it does mean they cannot pierce as deeply. You are protected by an awareness that life despite its imperfections, is still a gift. And here is the final truth. Gratitude is not only for when things go well. Anyone can be thankful when life is smooth. Real strength is found in choosing gratitude, even in difficulty. It is in saying, "This challenge is shaping me. This obstacle is teaching me. This moment, even if painful, is still giving me something valuable." Gratitude does not erase hardship, but it gives you the strength to rise above it. It softens the hard edges of life and paints even the darkest days with streaks of light. When you live in gratitude, negativity cannot chain you, because your mind is already too full of appreciation, too anchored in abundance, too aware of the miracle of simply being alive. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a garden. Every day, seeds are being planted. Some of these seeds are thoughts of courage, hope, and determination. Others are seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity. And just like any garden, the seeds that receive the most attention, sunlight, and water are the ones that grow the strongest. The truth is, many of the negative thoughts you battle are not born within you alone. They are planted by the company you keep, the voices you allow around you, and the influences you let into your life. Think about it. If you spend your time surrounded by people who constantly complain, criticize, or predict failure, it is only a matter of time before their words become your inner dialogue. Doubt becomes contagious, fear becomes shared, and negativity spreads like wildfire. You might begin to echo their beliefs without even realizing it. You may catch yourself saying things you never truly believe, simply because you've absorbed the energy of the people around you. On the other hand, imagine spending your days with people who lift you up, who believe in possibility, who encourage you to try again when you stumble. Their faith in you starts to awaken your own. Their words of courage begin to echo in your thoughts. Their energy fuels you. You begin to think differently, to act differently, and to expect more from yourself. That is the power of influence. It is often said that if you want to know your future, look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. This may sound simple, but it is profound. The voices closest to you shape the voice inside you. The conversations you have daily shape your beliefs about what is possible. The energy you allow into your environment creates the atmosphere of your mind. This is why it is so important to choose carefully. Protect your inner world as fiercely as you protect your home. You would not invite someone who constantly tracks mud and dirt into your living room. In the same way, do not allow people who bring chaos and doubt to take root in your thoughts. This does not mean you should isolate yourself or judge others harshly. It simply means you must be intentional about who earns the right to influence you. Ask yourself, who are the people that consistently bring light into my life? Who challenges me to grow, not by tearing me down, but by reminding me of my potential, who leaves me feeling stronger, clearer, and more alive after spending time with them. These are the people you should draw closer, and just as importantly, ask who drains me, who leaves me doubting myself, who plants more fear than faith in my mind. These are the people whose voices you must learn to filter, to keep at a distance if necessary. Influence is not limited to people either. It lives in the books you read, the shows you watch, the music you listen to, the content you consume online. Every piece of input becomes a seed. If you constantly consume negativity, chaos, or criticism, do not be surprised when your thoughts grow heavy. But if you choose uplifting messages, inspiring stories, and knowledge that empowers you, your inner world becomes stronger, more resilient, and more positive. You cannot always control the voices around you, but you can always control which ones you internalize. You can learn to filter, to be selective, to guard your mental space like a treasure. Remember, your mind is a garden. If you want it to flourish with strength, clarity, and peace, you must pull out the weeds of negativity and nurture the seeds of encouragement. Surround yourself with voices that remind you of your worth. Choose company that reflects the person you are becoming, not the fears you are leaving behind. Build an environment where positive thoughts are the natural outcome, because everything around you is feeding your growth. In the end, the influence you allow becomes the person you become. Choose wisely, because your destiny is quietly being shaped every single day by the voices you listen to. Most of the negative thoughts that trouble us are not born in the present. They come from two different directions: regret about the past and fear of the future. The past whispers, reminders of mistakes and failures. The future projects worries and worst-case scenarios that may never happen. Your mind becomes caught between two time zones that don't even exist anymore. Yesterday, which is gone, and tomorrow, which has not yet arrived. But here is the truth: the present moment is safe. Right now, in this very second, there is no regret chasing you, and no fear attacking you. The air you breathe is calm. The seat you rest on is steady. The ground beneath you is strong. The present moment is where peace lives, and it is the only place where you have real power. Think about a time when you worried about an exam, a job interview, or a conversation. Days, even weeks, were spent with your mind racing. You rehearsed what could go wrong, imagined failure, and almost convinced yourself that disaster was certain. Then the moment came and went. Often, it was never as bad as you feared. Sometimes it even went well. But all the time you spent in worry, all those negative thoughts, stole your peace before reality ever did. That is what happens when you abandon the present and wander into the illusions of the past or future. Anchoring yourself in the now is like planting your feet firmly in the earth while storms swirl around you. The storm may roar, but you do not move. You return to what is real. And what is real is this moment, your breath slow and steady. The sounds around you subtle yet alive. The way your body rests here, safe, supported, present. One of the simplest ways to anchor yourself is through breath. When a negative thought intrudes, pause and take a deep inhale. Feel the air fill your lungs. Hold it for a moment, then release. Do this 3 times. Notice how your body relaxes, how your shoulders drop, how the chaos in your head quiets just a little. In that small pause, you are reminded, I am here. I am safe. I am alive. Another way is to notice details. Look around you and name 5 things you can see. Touch something nearby and notice its texture. Listen for the quietest sound in the room. This practice pulls your mind away from imaginary fears and brings it back to what is actually here. Anchoring in the present does not mean denying the past or ignoring the future. The past is a teacher. The future is a vision. But they are not meant to rule your mind. You honor the past by learning from it, and you honor the future by preparing for it. Then you release them both and return to now, where action and peace exist. Think of life like driving a car. The rearview mirror is useful, but if you stare into it too long, you crash. The windshield shows the road ahead. But if you only focus on what might come, you miss the turn right in front of you. The key is to stay present with your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road here and now. That is how you move forward safely. The present moment is not just a nice idea. It is a practice. Each time you notice yourself drifting into regret or fear, gently guide yourself back. Not with judgment, not with frustration, but with kindness. You simply say, come back, be here now. And slowly, your mind learns. Slowly, negativity loses its grip. You are not trapped in your thoughts. You are not a prisoner of fear. In this moment, right now, you are free. And the more you practice returning to the present, the more you will discover that peace was never missing. It was always waiting here for you. Failure. For many people, that single word carries the weight of disappointment, embarrassment, and shame. It echoes in the mind, fueling negative thoughts that whisper, you are not good enough. You will never succeed. Every mistake proves it. This is how the cycle of negativity begins. Not from the failure itself, but from the story you tell yourself about it. Think back to a time when you stumbled. Maybe it was an exam you didn't pass, a project at work that fell short, or a relationship that ended in heartbreak. The memory itself is not the problem. The problem is the conclusion your mind drew from it. Instead of saying, this was a lesson, you might have said, this is who I am, a failure. But that is not truth. That is a lie negativity convinces you to believe. Failure is not a verdict. It is feedback. Imagine a scientist in a lab. She mixes 2 chemicals, hoping for a reaction, but instead nothing happens. Is she crushed? Does she quit? No, she records the result, adjusts her approach, and tries again. To her, the lack of success is not proof of incompetence. It is information. Every so-called failure brings her closer to discovery. You can live the same way. When life does not go as planned, you can label it as the end. Or you can see it as the next step. Negative thoughts lose power the moment you redefine failure as progress. Think about learning to walk as a child. You took a step, wobbled, and fell. Did you stop there? Of course not. You got up again and again until walking became effortless. Failure was the only path to mastery. Somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we forget this truth. We start to expect perfection on the first try. And when it doesn't happen, negativity pounces. But falling is not the opposite of flying. Falling is what teaches you how to spread your wings. Consider this. Every great achievement in the world is built on a mountain of failures. Behind every success story lies rejection letters, missed opportunities, and countless attempts that didn't work. The only difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is this. One group lets failure define them, the other lets failure refine them. Your mind may say, if I failed once, I'll fail again. But that is not a fact. That is fear. Failure does not predict the future. It only provides lessons for the present. Each mistake shows you what doesn't work, so you can find what does. Here's a practical way to flip the script. The next time you face a setback, instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? That single shift turns failure into a mentor instead of an enemy. Suddenly, you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a student of life. Imagine a door slamming shut. At first, it feels final. But then you notice there is another door, slightly open, waiting for you. That is what failure truly is. It redirects you, guiding you toward paths you may not have seen otherwise. Negative thoughts try to trap you in the pain of failure, but you always have a choice. You can replay the mistake endlessly, or you can mine it for wisdom. One leads to despair. The other leads to strength. Every time you choose the second path, you weaken negativity's grip. You begin to see setbacks not as barriers, but as stepping stones. And with each stone you climb, your perspective rises. So the next time your mind tells you, this is proof you're not enough, pause and remind yourself failure is not proof of weakness. It is proof of effort. It means you dared, you tried, you stretched beyond comfort. That alone is courage, and courage, not perfection, is the birthplace of growth. When you embrace this truth, failure no longer chains you to negativity. Instead, it fuels you with resilience, clarity, and unshakable determination. Language is the bridge between your inner world and the outer world. The words you choose, both spoken and unspoken, shape your reality in ways you may not always notice. They become the soil from which your thoughts grow, and your thoughts, in turn, create your emotions, decisions, and actions. If your words are heavy with doubt, your life feels heavy with doubt. If your words are filled with strength, your life begins to reflect that strength. Think about the quiet phrases you repeat to yourself each day. When you whisper, even silently, "I can't do this," your body reacts as though the task before you is impossible. Your energy drops. Your courage retreats. But if you gently shift that phrase into, "I can learn this," suddenly the door is not closed. The challenge transforms from an enemy into an opportunity. The power of language lies not in exaggeration, but in the direction it points you toward. Consider for a moment how easily we underestimate ourselves through casual speech. How often do you say, "I'll try," when what you mean is, "I intend to do it"? That single word, try, carries hesitation. It leaves room for retreat. Now imagine replacing it with, "I will." Notice the difference it makes. One word is weak, the other is firm. One sows doubt, the other plants certainty. The smallest adjustments in your vocabulary become seeds of transformation in your mindset. Words are not just sounds, they are signals. When you repeatedly use phrases of limitation, "I'm unlucky," "I'm stuck," "I'm too late," you send signals to your brain that reinforce negativity. Over time, those signals carve grooves in your thinking until negativity feels like the natural default. But when you choose empowering words, you send new signals. "I am resilient," "I am resourceful," "I am capable." At first, it may feel strange, as though you are pretending. But remember, every great change begins with words that sound unfamiliar. With repetition, what once felt like pretending becomes the new truth your mind accepts. Let's take a real life example. Imagine two students facing the same difficult exam. One says, "This test is going to destroy me. I'm terrible at this subject." The other says, "This test is tough, but I'll prepare and do my best." Both students face the same challenge, but the first is already defeated before they even start. The second has given themselves a chance. Their words shaped their state of mind, and that state of mind shaped their performance. This is not about ignoring reality or painting it with false positivity. It is about choosing language that empowers you to move forward instead of trapping you in despair. If you say, "I'm broken," your mind stops seeking solutions. If you say, "I'm healing," your mind begins looking for paths to recovery. The words do not deny the struggle. They guide you through it. To strengthen this practice, become a conscious observer of your language. Listen to how you speak about yourself in daily life. Replace words of weakness with words of strength. Change "I have to" into "I get to." Change "I failed" into "I learned." Change "this impossible" into "This will be a challenge, but I am willing to face it." Notice how the energy shifts when your words shift. Every powerful movement in history, every great transformation in a person's life, began with words, a declaration, a promise, a vision spoken aloud. You, too, can declare your new reality through language. Each sentence you shape with intention becomes a brick in the foundation of a stronger, more positive mind. Do not underestimate this practice. Words are not decoration, they are direction. Speak with purpose. Speak with courage. Speak as though the life you desire is already within reach. Because with every word, you are not only expressing your thoughts, you are shaping the person you are becoming. Every day, the mind wakes up to a flood of thoughts. Some are helpful, some are neutral, and some are the heavy shadows that pull you down. If you begin your day without intention, those shadows have the first word. They decide how you feel, how you act, and what you believe about yourself. This is why daily rituals are not luxuries. They are necessities. They are the anchors that hold you steady when the current of negativity tries to drag you away. Think of your mind like a garden. If you leave it untended, weeds will grow naturally. Negativity is the weed. Effortless, fast, and invasive. But when you care for your garden every morning, watering it with focus, gratitude, and action, positivity has the space to flourish. Daily rituals are that care, the simple, yet powerful habits that protect you from being consumed by harmful thoughts. The morning is your most sacred time. Before the noise of the world enters, you have a window of silence where you can choose the direction of your day. Begin by speaking to yourself with intention. Affirmations are not empty words. They are reminders of truth. Saying to yourself, I am capable. I am resilient. I am in control of my thoughts, may feel small, but spoken consistently, these words begin to reshape your inner dialogue. You are setting the tone before negativity has a chance to dictate it. Afterwards, move into stillness. Take a few moments of silence, whether through meditation, breathing, or simply sitting in awareness. In that silence, you train your mind to observe thoughts instead of being controlled by them. Imagine your mind as a clear sky and your thoughts as passing clouds. Some clouds are heavy, dark, and full of rain, but they always move on. When you see your thoughts this way, you no longer feel trapped. Silence is the practice that builds that perspective. The body, too, is deeply connected to the mind. A stagnant body often leads to a stagnant mind. By moving in the morning, even just a short walk, stretching, or a few minutes of exercise, you awaken energy, release stress, and remind yourself that you are alive and capable of action. Negativity feeds on inertia. Movement starves it. Every step you take physically becomes a symbolic step away from fear and into strength. Another powerful ritual is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, goals, and gratitude allows you to unload what weighs on you and focus on what uplifts you. Put on paper what you no longer want to carry in your head. Write down the lessons from yesterday, the blessings of today, and the intentions for tomorrow. In doing so, you clear mental clutter and create space for clarity. Feeding your mind with positive input is equally important. Just as you choose what food to eat for your body, you must choose what content you consume for your mind. Read something uplifting, listen to something motivating, or reflect on wisdom that strengthens you. What you feed your mind first thing in the day determines when of your thoughts spiral into doubt or rise into confidence. Over time, these small rituals build an invisible armor around you. They do not prevent challenges, but they prepare you to face them with calmness and strength. Negativity will still knock on your door, but with rituals, you answer it differently. Instead of letting it in, you meet it with a steady voice that says, "I am grounded. I am prepared. I choose a better thought." Consistency is the secret. A single day of rituals will feel good, but practiced daily, they reshape your mental landscape. The weeds of negativity will still try to return, but they will find little room to grow in a garden you care for every morning. Over weeks and months, you will notice that negative thoughts no longer dominate as they once did. They visit, but they do not stay. Daily rituals do not make life perfect. What they do is make you stronger than the imperfections. They remind you every day that you are not powerless. You have tools. You have choices. A warm when you choose to practice these rituals with commitment. You are training your mind to live with clarity, gratitude, and unshakable positivity. Imagine two people standing in the middle of a storm. The rain is pouring, the wind is howling, and the sky is filled with thunder. One person looks up and says, "This is terrible. I am trapped. I can't survive this." The other looks up and says, "Yes, it is a storm, but storms always pass. And when they do, the air becomes cleaner, the earth becomes refreshed, and I will be stronger for having endured it." The difference between them is not the storm. It is perspective. Negative thoughts often lock us into a narrow perspective. They convince us that one difficulty defines our entire life, that one mistake erases every success, that one rejection means we are unworthy forever. It is like looking through a keyhole. You only see a sliver of reality, yet you believe it is the whole picture. And so your mind whispers, "This is the end. Nothing will get better." But when you shift perspective, the view changes. You step back from the keyhole and open the door. Suddenly you see the full room, the windows, the horizon beyond. The same event looks entirely different, because your mind is no longer chained to one angle. Every challenge carries two stories, the story of defeat and the story of growth, the story of loss and the story of learning. Perspective is the power to choose which story you tell yourself. Think about the moments in your life where something that first seemed like a curse turned out to be a blessing. Perhaps losing a job pushed you toward a new career that fulfilled you more deeply. Perhaps an ended relationship opened the space for someone who truly respected and valued you. In the moment, it felt like destruction. Later, you saw it was construction. Negativity will always try to blind you to the larger picture. It wants you to focus only on the pain, only on the limitation. But you are more powerful than that. You can ask yourself, what else could this mean? What is the lesson here? How could this moment be preparing me for something greater? These questions open perspective. Imagine holding a coin in front of your eye. If you press it too close, it blocks your entire vision. You can't see the sky, the trees, or the people around you. All you see is the coin. That coin is like a negative thought. The more you let it dominate your mind, the more it covers everything else. But when you pull it back, you realize it is small compared to the vastness of the world. The problem does not vanish, but you see it in proportion. Perspective gives you freedom. It allows you to take the same event and transform it into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. It turns "why me" into "why not me?" I was chosen for this challenge because I have the strength to overcome it. It transforms. This is the end into this is a new beginning. The truth is, you cannot control every circumstance in life. You cannot stop storms from coming. But you can always choose the lens through which you see them. And when you choose a lens of growth, gratitude, and strength, the storms no longer break you. They build you. So the next time a negative thought tries to convince you that all is lost, pause. Step back. Ask yourself, is there another way to see this? Can I choose a perspective that gives me strength instead of despair? That single choice can change the entire experience. Perspective is not about denying reality. It is about expanding it. It is about refusing to let one dark cloud hide the entire sky. It is about remembering that every night is followed by morning, and every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. When you master perspective, negative thoughts lose their grip, because you no longer see problems as walls. You see them as doors. And every door, once opened, leads you further down the path of growth, resilience, and peace. The moment of transformation does not come with a sudden burst of lightning. It comes quietly, almost unnoticed, like the sunrise, slowly breaking the darkness of night. You realize, after all the effort, after all the practice, that you are no longer the victim of your thoughts. You are no longer pulled in every direction by doubt, fear, or negativity. Instead, you stand in the center of your mind like a calm observer, aware and unshaken. The breakthrough happens when you finally understand one simple truth: you are not your thoughts. For years, you may have identified with them. If your mind said, "You're not good enough," you believed it. If it said, "You'll fail," you carried it like a heavy chain. But then comes the moment when you step back and see clearly those words are not who you are. They are passing clouds, temporary sounds in the sky of your mind. And you are the sky itself, vast, steady, and unbroken. When this awareness takes root, everything changes. Negative thoughts may still appear, because the mind has been conditioned for years to create them. But now, instead of being dragged into their storm, you notice them, smile gently, and let them pass. Like someone watching leaves float down a river, you no longer jump in to grab each one. You simply let the current carry them away. That is freedom. Think of how life feels when you believe every negative thought. It is like living in a prison with invisible walls. You cannot move forward because the voice in your head keeps saying you are not ready, not worthy, not capable. But the walls are not real. They exist only because you accept them as truth. The breakthrough is when you press your hand against the wall and realize it dissolves at your touch. What once felt like iron was only smoke. This shift does not mean you will never feel doubt again. It means doubt will no longer control you. You may hear the whisper, "You can't do this." But another voice, stronger and clearer, will answer, "I will try, I will learn, and I will grow." And in that moment, the old pattern of negativity loses its power. Consider how this affects every area of your life. In your relationships, instead of assuming the worst, you begin to trust, to listen, to communicate. In your career, instead of fearing failure, you see every challenge as a chance to rise. In your health, instead of saying, "I'll never change," you remind yourself that progress is built one step at a time. Each area of life begins to reflect this inner strength. What creates this breakthrough is not a single technique, but the combination of everything you have practiced. The pause that gives you space, the rewriting of thoughts into empowering scripts, the gratitude that keeps your focus on what is good, the circle of influence that lifts you higher, the rituals that strengthen your mind daily, the perspective that reframes problems into opportunities. Slowly, these practices work together until they create a shift so powerful that negativity no longer rules you. There comes a day when you wake up and realize you are no longer fighting with your thoughts. You are no longer chasing them, no longer trying to silence them. You are simply living, and the thoughts flow through like passing wind. This is the final breakthrough, peace of mind. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed the way you meet the world. You become the calm in the storm. You become the master of your inner dialogue. And once you master your mind, no challenge, no failure, no rejection can take away your strength. The breakthrough is not in silencing negativity forever. It is in realizing that it never defined you in the first place. Every journey begins within. You came here searching for a way to stop negative thoughts, and along the way, you discovered something greater than a quick trick or temporary relief. You discovered mastery, the ability to see your thoughts clearly, to choose which ones to accept, and to let go of the ones that no longer serve you. Think back to where we started, the restless mind, full of fear, doubt, and self-criticism. And look at where you stand now, a mind that understands the pause, a heart that remembers gratitude, a perspective that turns pain into growth, a voice that speaks in words of strength, and a spirit anchored in the present. This is transformation. Negativity may still come knocking, but it no longer has the power to build a home in your mind. You hold the keys. You decide what enters. You decide what stays. And every time you choose awareness over fear, every time you replace doubt with possibility, you reclaim little more of your true power. Remember, you are not your past mistakes. You are not your fears about tomorrow. You are not the voice that says you cannot. You are not the voice that says you can haze it all and still chooses to rise. That is your strength. That is your truth. From this moment forward, carry with you the practices we explored. Catch your thoughts. Pause before reacting. Reframe your inner dialogue. Ground yourself in gratitude. Build a circle that uplifts you. Live in the present moment. And when challenges come, as they surely will, let your perspective turn them into opportunities for growth. You now know the secret that many never realize. Peace does not come from controlling everything outside of you. It comes from mastering what is within you. And when you master your mind, you master your life. So walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with clarity. And when negativity tries to whisper again, smile, because you already know the truth. You are greater than your doubts, stronger than your fears, and worthy of a life filled with peace, purpose, and power. The battle is not outside. It never was. The battle was within. And now you have won.